Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Things You Missed right here on GameSpot. We are Kind of Funny's Colin Moriarty and Tim Geddes. And Tim, today we're here to talk about something you and I are both very excited about, although I'm a little more, and by a little more I mean a lot more skeptical of it than you are.
I'm
Final
trying
Fantasy
to be
VII
optimistic.
Remake. I appreciate it. That's what you always are. And I'm always pessimistic.
Oh, man.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
So at PSX, we saw something unexpected. I don't think anyone expected to see this. Not only in an expanded trailer, but a bunch of in-game footage of what they're working on, showing some of the early portions of the game, particularly the bombing of the Mako reactor.
Exactly.
So let's talk about it.
So this is the bombing mission of Final Fantasy VII. Everything from the trailers, from the very early moments of that game, which I'm really excited about because we kind of get to see it from a whole new look. A couple interesting things to me is this is using the Unreal Engine 4, which I find really kind of weird because originally we saw the Agnes Philosophy trailer in E3 2012 that kind of showed off this square luminous engine.
Yeah, something proprietary.
Yes.
Right.
So another thing we know about this is that it's being made by CyberConnect.
Yeah, so this is where things get a little unclear because it seems like it's going to be a collaboration between Square Enix, obviously, probably on the production side, and CyberConnect, and perhaps other studios. CyberConnect best known for the very popular JRPG series Dot Hack on PS2. They do a lot of the Naruto games. They've done a lot of stuff. I think they did Asura's Wrath. So they've been around the block and they're a good developer. It's unclear how much of the load they're taking on. What I assume is it's similar to the games that Santa Monica puts out at Sony, where they're producing it, someone else entirely is making it. CyberConnect, this seems to be a CyberConnect project.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing. This is the first time we've seen gameplay from the remake. And it is the first time we've really kind of seen an extended look at the game, because the first trailer was kind of like hype that fans of Final Fantasy VII knew it was Final Fantasy VII, but it wasn't very clear until the very end when you see the cloud reveal, you know, unless you were like finding little hints and stuff like that. This trailer, it's Final Fantasy VII through and through, including the typos and weird translation stuff. The legendary becomes real. You don't think that makes sense? That seems to make sense to me.
Really? Yeah. The legendary. Like, the legendary
becomes real. It's either the legendary become real or the legends become real.
Well, the legendary becomes real.
This is a classic Square Final Fantasy translation thing.
I think on grammar, if legendary is indicated, because legendary can be plural or singular. So I think they mean it as plural, right? The legendary. No, they would mean it as singular. The legendary becomes real. God, this is going down the rabbit hole.
I don't know, but here's the thing.
I'm back in college.
It's a stretch. I was kind of making a joke that this is the Final Fantasy through and through, because this is weird. I find it weird. But here, we instantly see some stuff that I never thought we would see, which is our girl Jessie chilling there.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's cool to see proper representations of characters that played important roles in Avalanche, or in general in that early kind of Midgar section of the game, which is very dark and very dire and seems to be captured pretty well in the aesthetic of this.
Seeing Jesse, Biggs, Wedge, and all of them, it's
very cool.
It's very, very cool, and I like that these trailers aren't just showing us Sephiroth and Tifa and all that stuff. It's like, all right, cool. Let's get into what the game was. Right. You know? Yeah,
they are showing. My assumption is they're showing what they have. You know,
definitely. So what's interesting to me here is there's a bunch of little flashes and stuff, right?
This is awesome.
We see Midgar.
Yeah, and the reactors. And again, capturing the essence of this dark, gritty, disgusting city.
Yeah.
And this is what we saw when the game was revealed. So we do see little clips of parts of the game that we saw when the game was revealed. Them walking and when it's revealed that it's Cloud because of the Buster Sword. We've seen before. I like how they stitched that in as well.
What's awesome is you see these, even just, it's a staircase. And it's like, I can see that staircase in my head of playing Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. That the bombing mission in the beginning, and it's like, they're nailing it for me, man, so far. I'm loving this. So going through a bit more, they kind of just did a quick retread of the first trailer we saw. Then we get into going back to the opening of the original Final Fantasy VII, and Colin, I don't know if you saw the amazing graphic comparison the GameSpot put up when this first came out, where it's side-by-side comparisons. It's like a literal translation.
It's very cool.
Jesse comes and kicks, and it's just like this, and it's awesome. And then
Barrett pretty much redesigned here.
Total redesign. In the original game, he looked a bit more, at least in the art, was more of a Mr. T feel. In the game, he just looked like a bunch of shapes together.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just a bunch of polygons. Yeah, some sweet arm tattoos, as Oakley's, as people have been talking about. Not crazy about this design but I don't know exactly. Like Barrett is such a character of the 90s that it's hard. Like, what are you really going to do with him?
But I mean, I kind of like that though. Yeah. I mean, he very much looks like Blade, right?
Sure.
And I like the fact that he looked like Mr. T back in the 90s when he was supposed to represent the kind of older thing. Now he looks more 90s.
Right, yeah, that's a good point.
I think it's kind of cool, and I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I think they did. And he's saying all these lines that there's actual text straight from the game, so now you can hear what we read all those years ago.
Yeah, it's very cool. The aesthetic, they nail the way the game looks.
Now, right here, we see the first boss, Guard Scorpion. But what I love is these subtle little things. The way that the camera swings around them is the way the camera would swing around them in the battles.
Right.
Like, look at this right here.
I don't care about you.
I love it. It's just a nice little throwback, right? Here they are getting ready to fight. His swords or his gun's a lot longer.
Here we're seeing some traversal, which is cool.
Yeah, so these are scenes from like that happened in Final Fantasy VII, but we didn't actually get to play them. We just kind of see an explosion, and then Cloud kind of went through it. And here, I mean, you know, Square now it has Tomb Raider. This is very modern Tomb Raider-esque. Not to say that it's ripped straight out of it, but like this does remind me of like Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I mean, this is more indicative to me of the. It's not even an action role-playing game feel, although it is. It's just the way games look now. So. It's cool to be able to use a little bit of less of your imagination. Although I think that was one of the fun things about Final Fantasy VII was having to use your imagination because these were so blocky and polygonal and so primitive. But now we get really these beautiful scenes. And again, just the darkness and the grittiness and the dirtiness. I know this is a weird thing, but like look at all the the crap on the ground, like all the litter and everything. Like it's populated. You saw that earlier when they're walking through Midgard, through the marketplace. There's people. Like it's a city that's alive.
And again, what's crazy is this is ripped straight out of the first game. Like you see the pre-rendered backgrounds. These houses are there. This staircase, you go up and down. It's really crazy. And that little glare coming off the sword, you see it. The lighting engine is really nice.
Yeah, the lighting's nice. Everything's looking great aesthetically, and I'm interested in the way the game plays. Maybe a little bit different, but the way the game looks.
Yeah.
Cloud looks a little scrawny to me.
So here's my thing. That's a lot of people are saying that. The thing about Cloud, we got Steve Burton voicing him just like he has in Advent Children, Kingdom Hearts, and all this stuff for years at this point. We'll see if they kind of go the more Advent Children route or the classic Final Fantasy route. I'm really hoping that they stick to 7. This trailer seems to kind of show that. Him being all scrawny and looking a little sickly and stuff. I mean, we need to remember, at this point, he's being affected heavily by the Mako energy and all that stuff. So it's like, I think that is a design choice that they made.
I also think he just looks skinnier, because of his big shoulder guard, which is there. We're going to see, we see that in not polygonally, and his sword is massive too, so there's going to be some discrepancies.
I do like that it's very much the original designs. They're not going the Advent Children look with a bunch of belts and stuff, and even with Barrett going back and kind of like redesigning them. I think that's good because it would have been easy for them to just kind of give that look and call it a day. And also the music that's playing right now, the original Bombing Mission song, but it's important to note that it wasn't orchestrated just for this trailer. That is from an orchestral CD called Distant Worlds that came out years ago. So it is a pre-existing track.
Nice. Well, that's fine. If it works, it works. Not everything needs to be redesigned.
No, my point there is that it's not like we're that far along in development.
Oh, you think they will throw it back in? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Okay. I think that they're going to have all.
Well, we're definitely not far along.
Yeah. And then here we got our boy.
That's Wedge, right?
That is Wedge. Yes. One of my biggest critiques of this trailer is his voice is weird. Like he's a little too squeaky.
I just love that Biggs and Wedge have been a Final Fantasy tradition for a very long time. Different characters in every game that they appear in. Essential parts in this game, just like in Final Fantasy VI with the Magitech armor, they play an important role here in the early game too.
Then we're going forward here a bit.
Same as us. Not interested.
Then we're about to come up on the gameplay soon, which was a huge reveal. Like no one thought we were going to see this for a long time. So here he starts getting affected, those like visions and shit that he was getting.
Get back here.
Yeah, and so here is where things get interesting, and it's who knows? All right, so we see a few things. We see a limit break, the limit break meter in the bottom right. Cloud's HP and MP. He seems extremely strong.
Bar?
I don't know. There was something I think Nomura Katase said about that bar turning red and paying attention to that bar. I'm not entirely sure. It seems also like I'm reading a Gematsu piece about Famitsu, or translated from Famitsu, where a lot of the design aesthetic in terms of the gameplay is not even done.
Oh yeah, I mean, a very obvious clue to to that is the fact that if you look over at the bottom left of the screen, you see the kind of options, and there's attack, magic, summon, items, defend. Now, that's what Final Fantasy VII had, minus the defend. And the fact that summon is here means that this is just here for demo purposes. Like, you don't get summons till way later in the game, so it wouldn't be there at this portion of the game.
You could press over and get defend, right? It wasn't in the
Yeah, exactly.
And then, the other red herring here is that he has 2,000 hit points. Which wouldn't be happening until midway through the game. So, or maybe not quite midway through the game, but maybe a
little bit later. Yeah, so we start off there with that. What I think is cool is that, so defend does say that they're thinking about, this battle system's different. It's not going to be like something we've seen before. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's Final Fantasy 15. Right. It's not. This is very different than that. There is at least a menu to go through. It looks kind of similar to me, more of a Kingdom Hearts. Kind of the Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, where the red bar kind of goes up and you can do stronger moves and stuff like that. But again, it's unique. This is a new battle system, and I'm interested in it just because it looks more active than a lot of the Final Fantasies. So far, they've been kind of like, it's still kind of wait your turn. This looks like that bar is more of a combo meter where you just can't spam things over and over and over.
Well, here's what Katase says about the battle system. This is from Gamatsu via a Famitsu translation. It says, quote, rather than a command battle ensuing where you encounter an enemy, we're aiming for a seamless active battle, as you can see in the trailer. So that's what we're seeing here. And then Nomura says, quote, regarding the battle speed and tempo, for the sake of a stress-free battle, we want to do something on the level of the City of Final Fantasy. As far as the degree of action goes, it's the City of Final Fantasy, then Kingdom Hearts, then Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
There won't be any action that requires a technique. By using the new system, we want to do action battles while also being able to fight thinking strategically.
Yeah.
And then they ask about elements of the original battle system, and Nomura says, quote, in the end, it's based on Final Fantasy VII, so elements like the ATB gauge, which is really important, active time battle, and limit breaks, which we see here, at least in the corner, will appear with new ways to be used. Please look forward to how this game will evolve through the remake.
Oh, well, I mean, another obvious vibe I'm getting is Crisis Core.
Absolutely.
It's the battle system, it's very different than that.
Tighter than Crisis
Core. But at
Core,
least in terms of you have to wait the turn and you can attack, and wait the turn and then you can attack. So that's cool. And then another huge reveal here that people were wondering about, you can play as Barrett.
Right, so you can switch. I think you can toggle with the triggers between the characters, so you can stay as one. You'll always have 3 characters, just like in Final Fantasy VII, with you in your party, and they'll fight via AI unless you want to control them. So you could conceivably control Cloud.
Which I think is great. Another thing throughout this trailer is the particle effects are super awesome. Every attack has like lightning and little like flashes and stuff going, and it looks really nice. Here we got Cloud's first limit break, Braver. Let's look at that again. Which is awesome. Then Barrett's first limit break, Big Shot. Not sure what that is, but
it looks cool. This is again all in engine.
Yeah.
So it is very seamless. There's no.
Yeah. There we got cross slash. What looks to be cross slash.
Yeah. So again, way ahead of ourselves in terms of what you're gonna have.
For sure.
Well, it's funny because we don't see it here. I mean, this awesome train sequence and the escape. Just want to see the menus.
Yeah, I know, right? It's funny. And I like how this trailer kind of cuts between the different parts of the thing. But yeah, here we got Guard Scorpion again. Doing his thing. And all of Avalanche, man. And I love that like their armor looks kind of like just makeshift. Like they just kind of put shit together because they're like a terrorist organization, just kind of like
that's what we lose sight of, is that they're like eco-terrorists, basically.
Yeah.
Trying to stop Shinra's Maker reactors. Doing the unnecessary flip.
The unnecessary flip, which again, you need to see this. It's straight out of Final Fantasy VII. It's like the exact way that it's.
It is cool that they've really paid homage, maybe not in the battle system, but in terms of the aesthetic again.
Yeah.
Awesome, and I love the logo, the depth of the logo and stuff like that. I was recently looking at all the different logos they were coming up with when they were making the original game, and they settled on this. And
yeah, it's very cool.
Awesome,
going back, there was one flash that I remember seeing. Yeah, it's right here. So this right here is really interesting. Do you know what Edge is?
Edge.
I suspect that you don't know. Edge
in Final Fantasy IV, I know him, but no.
Well, yeah, it's different than that. Edge is actually the city that Advent Children takes place in.
Oh, okay, no.
That was kind of built after Midgar, is R.I.P. and all that stuff.
Interesting. No, I wouldn't have known.
After that section of Midgar. So what's interesting about this is that's an Advent Children thing.
So they're gonna. I mean, it seems like they're gonna mix things up, right, a little bit in terms of the story, because it says here in the same translation, will the story be adjusted at all? Nomura says, in addition to delving into these episodes more deeply, we're preparing a number of mechanisms and such. So those who played the original version will know the important parts and understand the story from the beginning to the end. also for these people, I hope they can be surprised once again.
And so that's the thing is, you know, there was the whole compilation of Final Fantasy VII thing with Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core and all the other random things, and obviously they've been children.
Right.
So it's interesting to see maybe they'll add some elements of that, or maybe we'll even play through. Maybe the game will go beyond the end of the game, or even before.
It's cool. I think this is definitely a shout to just the expanded universe for now, and this
Which
is
is cool.
obviously
I'm happy
the train line map or whatever, like as you would see on any train. Yeah, so there's little nods. I mean, the flowers on the ground too, obviously being a nod to Aerith. So, yeah, it's cool that we never see Tifa. We obviously don't see Aerith. We don't see Sephiroth, which is great.
Yeah.
We don't see the Turks. We don't see like anything but
beginning of the game.
Avalanche. Yeah, you really are seeing exactly what you know.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
And no materia. Cool. I think that's the one they knew what they were doing by showing that battle system. And I think it's nice that we'll have to wait and see what they come up with later.
I'm excited. I'm pessimistic about the battling. Optimistic about everything else. Pessimistic also about the episodic releases, which you didn't get into, and it's not really important for this trailer. But this will be released episodically, and we don't know anything about how or when that's going to happen. So, Tim, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, keep it tuned here for more of these trailer breakdowns right here on GameSpot. And we are kind of funny. Colin and Tim. We'll see you later. Bye.